Okay, call to order, Committee of the Whole meeting Tuesday, February 17th. Roll call, please.
Wright,
Here.
Simon,
Here.
Bagcup,
Here.
Butts, here, Mead,
Here.
Gustafson, here. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Approval of the minutes. Number one, approval of minutes for the meeting of the Committee of the Whole, February 3rd, 2026.
So moved.
Second.
Mead,
Yes.
Butts, I'll abstain. Simon,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Bagcup.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, public comment. Any folks wishing to public comment? Yes, sir. Thank you.
Sure. My name's Al Barmore, and I'm wanting to talk about the zoning change that Rogers Ready Mix is seeking. I am contiguous to their property. I live on the east side of it. My backyard touches the village of Roscoe. And a couple concerns that I have. Number one, it would have been really nice to let us know that it was happening. I watched the video from the committee of, or the zoning board from last Tuesday, I think it was. And one of the members asked, do the residents know about this? And the response was, yeah, they do. And then he followed up and said, did anybody notify them? And there was some lady that was talking and said, yeah, it was posted at Rogers and it was in the paper and they're not village residents anyway. And that kind of concerned me a little bit. I know that probably what you did or what they did was what's required. I can tell you that I've been back there. We moved there in '83. And when the project first came about in the 90s and they went to the county board and we got notified in the mail. And I assumed that that was protocol, but evidently the county and the village is different. So anyway, I just want to give you my input on that for whatever it's worth. But my concerns are when that was set up and the zoning was done, it was done that way to create a buffer for all of us that live back there. And all the houses on the east side were there when this first got developed. So it wasn't like we moved in with that already up and running. We were already there living, and then that got approved and put in. And to have that buffer that was, you know, in the original paperwork, I mean, again, that was thoughts in mind with us there. Gary Shedd was the guy that owned it. He came forward to us when it all went down, and that's how I know that he wanted it to get done that way because of the residents that were there. So the other thing, they're gonna be within 200 feet of my backyard if you grant that to them. And basically where that's gonna be is right up to the berm that is behind my house. And that's really close. I'm concerned with that. Noise, you know, we have, they as a whole, they've been good neighbors. I've never had a reason to, I never even thought about complaining to you guys, and I never thought about going over and talking to them. But as a whole, they've been good neighbors, but they haven't been perfect. And I got the feeling that it's kind of going to happen, that this is going to get approved. And if that's the case, the one thing that I really want to get addressed is the berm. The berm, if you guys, I don't know if anybody's ever driven by there. On the west side and the south side, they have a beautiful berm, groomed, mowed. It's not like that when I look out my back window and when I go outside. The berms that they maintain are maybe 8 feet tall max. It's at about 16 feet behind me now, and it's not groomed. You can see the piles from the last time they brought the scrapings up there, the last time that they expanded. And I'm really concerned if they scrape the rest of that they're wanting to do, where are they gonna put it? I mean, that berm's already too high, and I don't wanna have a 30-foot berm behind my house. I mean, that's ridiculous. So I think somebody needs to address that them, but what's their plan for that? Because it's gonna have to go somewhere. And they either have to widen the berm that's behind me, which would cut into the land that they want to mine. So there's some things that I hope people ask about. I said, that for the most part, it's been good, but I never thought they'd get that close because the way it was initially approved. And I just want to make sure that you guys think about that. And also, you might want to search silicosis with regards to Voorhees. It's pretty easy to search and read what is said about that. I know that the gentleman from Rogers commented how there's no particulate, getting blown our way. I would disagree with that because I've had some sand blown my way. And he said that it comes out of the ground wet, which I'm sure it does, but they have piles of it over there. And that's not wet, it dries out. And then when they drive up on the berm right behind our house and they're dropping that topsoil that they're scraping, they're up there with earth movers and a tractor pulling the scraper part of their earth mover. They're big and a lot of noise. And so there is an impact there. There has been. And I just want you guys to think about that when you're going to vote to approve or whatever at the next meeting. If anybody's got any questions for me, I'm glad to answer.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for giving me the opportunity.
No, thank you. Old business? Nothing? New business, number 2. Discussion and recommendation of a special event permit for the Roscoe Community Market to be held at the Liberty Lot twice monthly from May through September from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, I was writing something down. Go ahead.
I was just told to come by in case there were any questions. I think
Take a minute if you want. Tell us what it's about.
Okay, the Roscoe Community Market for the past 2 years, it has been at Louise Tap House.
I'm sorry, can I get your name?
I'm sorry, I'm Stacy Moore. I'm with State Line Events,
Is it with an I or a Y?
STACY, and then MOORE. I'm with State Line Events.
Thank
So-
you.
So for the past 2 years, I created the Roscoe Community Market at Louise Tap House. I feel because of their volleyball games and their parking situation that we're kind of outgrowing that space. I approached the village a couple of months ago asking for some recommendations of the area of where I could possibly move it. Originally, I had thought the new parking lot would be a great idea. And then kind of discussing with, is it Janelle? She had suggested that you guys are going to start putting events at the Liberty Lot, which is at the corner of Main and I think it's Bridge Street there. And then I kind of just snowballed from there, got a lot of people interested in it. A lot of people think that it would be a great addition. There's no markets really in this area. The idea is to kind of have it with small businesses, and still working on trying to find a farmer to join us. I have 2 that are interested, bakers, small business companies coming out, crafters coming out. Right now I have 10 people from the previous years that are already committed to wherever it's at. So I just think it'd be a great addition, a great area to put it right there. And it's got the possibility to expand it. Right now, I don't see it being much more than maybe 15 to 20 vendors. Also looking, it's a great opportunity to have food trucks, at least 2 food trucks there. So I submitted a packet and here we are.
Questions?
Just like to add, Stacy does a wonderful job. I've been to many of her events at Louise, and one of the things that she does really well that I like about it is she's a great promoter of using social media to get people out and get people downtown. And I do agree, it was sort of, it's unfortunate that, sort of where Louise was, it was a volley. So I think this would be a great location for you, and I'd like to see what you can do with it to get it up and going, so.
Thank you.
Do we have to discuss any infrastructure, leasing, or anything like that? As far as.
I did sit down with the police department, fire department, and Public Works and gotten clear from them to move forward with it. We discussed logistics and parking and all of that. Leaving that open parking lot as a possibility for parking.
Because we used it for the hometown holidays, but that was when Main Street was shut down, so I was, you know, if it would be a concern with Main Street being open, traffic or whatever.
We didn't see a concern this time.
Oh.
It was pretty small and an event. It
Yeah,
seemed
I
like.
don't,
And it pretty, it's
I
not
don't
really
see it like
child.
fall festival size, which is kind of like what we were talking, like, I felt like the people that I were talking to were like looking at it like that. I'm guessing at the most maybe 40 people that would come attend it, although it has, with the idea of saying that I'm working with the village and we're talking about expanding it, it has drawn some more attention for more people, but at the most, I'm guessing maybe 40, 50 people. The parking lot would be a spot, parking in the parking lot that's right over here. And that's kind of the stuff that while I'm promoting the events, that I would share with the vendors and the shoppers, you know, throughout. I have a private Facebook group page of, I want to say it's right at 300 people, just for the community market in itself. So I have multiple avenues of how I advertise and get information out to people.
Our only concern was the food trucks, which we decided as long as they're facing towards the park and not out towards the roadway, that way foot traffic comes from the grass area and not from Main Street.
And I talked to the Public Works about putting some picnic benches in the area, like 2 or 3 picnic benches that'll stay there, so that they have places to sit and direct the traffic towards the grassy area.
We'll be able to get power out there too.
I have,
Power, I don't know.
at this point, none of the vendors use power. If they do, then it would be a generator, a backup, like a electric generator. I know some of the vendors use for lights and stuff, but I don't see there being an issue with the power. Plus, I heard that there's a lot of cables and fiber and stuff buried in that area that I'm not even going to try that. I already came up with, we talked about putting up a sign at the corner to advertise it the week of each week, because it's gonna be ideally every other Sunday. But removing a sign and putting it back up at that corner for the events. But I have already been in the works of creating a temporary sign where I don't even have to put it into the ground. We're not even messing with that part.
So speaking of signage, though, you don't have signage at the site, not out like by 251 or anything?
No, I was going to look into putting up signage elsewhere, but in all honesty, in my experience, putting up the yard signs and banners doesn't work for people. Word of mouth is the best way to get around. State Line Events has been in the community for 10 years now, so I've built a pretty big following. I have a little over 2,000 fans on my Facebook page. I create craft shows and stuff in the area, so I have a pretty good following. And it's a lot of wasted money to put those signs up, because then it starts getting windy or the rain and it takes the signs flying and then you gotta chase them down.
One thing that I wanted you to share with the board is that you've had several conversations with staff members where all of these details could have been worked out and discussed.
I'm sorry.
I said you
I'm sorry, I forgot to wear my hearing aids and I can't hear very well. I am so sorry.
I was just hoping that you would, I'm asking you to share with the board that you had several preliminary conversations with staff members here as you rolled out your event. So there was this planning, this give and take, and all of these details had been addressed.
Yeah, so I run a nonprofit also that I launched in 2024. So I kind of get out in the community and I've talked to a couple of people on the board and stuff and introduced myself. I love Roscoe. I moved up here, gosh, this July will be 5 years, and I'm just looking to do something more in the community and bring more entertainment and events and stuff to our community, because it's a great little community. And I think it'd be a great opportunity for people to get out and meet each other.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Stacy. I'd like to make a motion, move it to the board.
Second?
Babcock?
Yes.
Frema?
Yes.
Me?
Yes.
Butts? Yes. Right.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 3, discussion and recommendation for approval for a map amendment from the UT Urban Transitional District to the IG General Industrial District for a portion of the property commonly known as 14165 North Second Street. Applicant VCNA Prairie LLC Rogers Ready Mix. You guys have,
Would you like to have Hillary go over anything?
I was gonna say, if Hillary, if you want to voice any thoughts on this, and also if we have any questions for there's two gentlemen here with Rogers that want to ask questions, so I'm sure they're willing to. Sure. Want to go?
Yeah,
First?
I can go over the staff report or summarize or answer questions, however you guys would prefer.
Thank you.
Okay.
Your choice, apparently.
You want me to go to them first? I have questions for those guys. I don't have any questions.
Why don't you just present what this is, so we're going to start.
Okay, so there's one staff report and two different planning applications, but everything is combined, so that's why you have to reference the staff report for two items. The first request is to change the zoning, which you heard, mining and mineral extraction are not permitted in the UT district, and they're looking to expand that as a part of the special use request, so we're looking to rezone that portion of the land. The special use request is in regards to, the applicant is changing the area identified for the mining and extraction to expand beyond what was currently approved originally. They are revising the reclamation plan as a part of the previous plan. It stated that there should be residential along the north and the east property lines. The previous owner had mined beyond what was approved for mining, and therefore building single-family housing is just not an option anymore based on the current conditions. And then the last request of the special use is to seek an extension of time. They are requesting an extension from 2045 to 2095 because they believe that there is enough material on site to continue mining for that period. The Zoning Board of Appeals reviewed this item last week and voted 6-0 for approval. And they have provided you findings of fact based on the zoning code.
You guys have questions? Roger?
You guys want? So,
Sure. Like, you.
I need to swear in.
yes.
Swear in?
You're good.
No, okay, last thing I need to know, but if you could state just your name. Sure, Tim Kenny, ACNA Prairie. So I'm the GM of Prairie Material, John Rapp, legal counsel's here as well. And I'd be happy to address our neighbors' concerns as well. So we acquired Rogers back in May of 2025. And we did a reserve analysis of all the property.
Excuse me, I don't think he saw what you just said.
Oh, I'll just let you know, I'll be happy to address your concerns, okay?
No, that's great.
Yes, yeah, no problem at all.
Plan on coming to talk to you.
Yes, okay, that's no problem. But we did acquire in May of 2025. And I guess to kind of summarize is we did inherit quite a bit, so that's why we're here in front of the board. So as far as the time extension, we did a reserve analysis with drillings on the property. And we estimated enough reserve, which is the sand and gravel deposit, to last an additional 50 years. So that's why we're asking from 2045 to 2095, yes. And then, of course, the additional properties. There's something up there. So here, does everybody hear me okay? Okay. So this is the plan as it sits right now. Of course, that's north. So the north end and the east end, which would border our neighbors, was going to be a development, housing development, single-family homes. But what Hillary mentioned on the north is the prior owner did extract too far to the north. So we would have to backfill all that property. It would never settle in time and stabilize to build homes on. And also with the water table, the surface level to the water would be about 50-foot elevation difference. So it's just not feasible to have a home 50 feet above the water. So there's a couple of reasons for that. What we are proposing is the reclamation plan. That's the current plan. So what we've done at several other sites, we operate 18 and they got closed like 6 to 8 of them, is we end up developing into a recreational property. So what kind of this proposes,
You want that with this one?
what's that? Yep, there you go. So the berm to the west will be maintained, the berm to the north, and we're in the process of building, well, let me explain, the one to the east next to our neighbor, that was built before we took over the property. And normally what we do with overburden is we put it back in the hole. Then we only have to touch it once. So you put the dirt back in the hole. So that berm, and I'd be happy to go out there with you and show it to you, but that, basically what that berm needs yet is to be graded and then vegetated with seedings and then trees. Because one thing is John would test of ECNA, we do a lot of tree planting with our company. So that would be vegetated, and that was in the final. Oh, I'm sorry, we also have, when we first met with Hillary and the mayor and Joe and Brandon, we did hire Batterman so Batterman actually designed this plan. And if you want to address any on Nicholas, if you want to address the back berm, we had that vegetated and with trees going as well. So eventually that would be basically, as you mentioned, it's a little bit taller, which, okay. And like I said, Rogers had that all in place.
I know.
Yeah, so
I know.
we don't normally have berms that tall, but the overburden, there's only about 4 to 5 foot overburden. And the depth of the deposit right now is 50 feet. So you're always digging deeper than going sideways. So the amount of overburden we could put back in the hole. So the berm would not have to go any higher. Okay, so if I need to be word of that, and then as far as the vegetation that we taken care of, you did mention the dust. There's never been a water truck on the property, and that's one thing we do is bring in water trucks. So we would address, because you would be the downwind, obviously, so we do understand that.
Yeah, it's definitely been an issue.
Yeah. And we did mention it is a wet material, so there typically isn't the amount of dust that you see in a limestone quarry. And there's not quite as much silica in sand and gravel, but MSHA, which is our Mine Safety and Health Administration, they're coming out with a new silica rule. And that's gonna reduce so he is correct, they are starting to hammer down on standards, but we get inspected at least twice a year. So that's all something that is down the pipe that we have to adhere to as well. Can be anything, but yeah, so what we'd be developing is a recreational area instead of a housing development. We figured there's enough housing developments around here that the recreation would be better suited for the end use of this property.
What it is, what's that going to be?
Yeah, so of course we got the berm, which would again be vegetated outside. The fence would be all the way around the property, just like now for security reasons. And then there could be like a walking path up here, a 4-to-1 slope, and then also a walking path around the perimeter of the water. So like I said, we've witnessed several end use recreations, and it's a nice public place for the public to go to. In this area up front would be, and of course this is for many years down the road, this would be a public undertaking, but like a parking area, pavilion area, and that sort of thing. The entrance and egress would remain the same, that wouldn't change. It just addressed us getting closer. So the only thing that happens, and I'd be happy to take out and show it to you folks. So the plant's gonna remain as is, and then the feed hopper's kind of right in this area. The only thing that might change is we would extend the feed hopper, but when we go into a bank, that loader's facing this way, digging the bank. So it's basically one machine down in the hole, or even a potential drag line in the bank. So the plant would never get any closer than it is right now. So it would basically just be the loader or the drag line doing the raw feed. So, because there is sand and gravel below the water table. So eventually we would be going below the water table. So, is there anything else? Like I said, I'll give you my number and I'd be happy to.
We can talk after.
Sure, yeah. Because one thing we do is and I apologize for the notice went out, but I guess it was handled how it normally is, the notice. So as far as that was a public notice that's just the village policy, so.
Yeah, no,
So if you weren't notified, I apologize.
I'm not blaming you for that.
Yeah, no, I understand, but yeah. Because John and Tess, we try and be good neighbors. I came from a family business in Livingston County in 2021. We got bought out, so we operate like a family business. Normally Jeff Briggs, who's been with Rogers for 30 years, he was here at the last, Hillary knows him. Joe's met him. He's been there 30 years, and he said there's never been a complaint, which we're glad to hear, but we definitely address complaints as they do come up, because I still like to operate it as a family business. So, and I don't have any choice, but John keeps me in line, so. But if you, any other concerns I can address tonight, or from your point?
No, I would just like to have a conversation.
Oh, that's, yep, absolutely, that's no problem at all.
I'd just like to make a comment. I think that the disconnect is that we're the village and you have the township and the county, and I don't know if that was why you were not notified, but again, it's not, I don't think Rogers, had anything to do with that. We're trying to do the right thing, and one of the things that we really want to do is listen to you guys. I'm a pharmacist by trade, so I'm very familiar with silica-based dust hazards and such, which I worked in the COPD clinic. So to me, it's something that's serious. And I mean, it sounds like everyone here is being good neighbors, and it's hopefully, wouldn't be getting to something that would be chronic exposure to something like that. So, I think this is a good example of just, two good parties working together and trying to do the right thing. And, if we can do anything here at the village to promote that or mediate that, it sounds like it's a good situation, right?
Yeah, one thing
I'm
in this.
glad that we're gonna be able to connect.
Yes,
on that.
yes, no problem.
I appreciate that.
One thing about this business, you don't want to get a bad reputation. So that's one thing you don't want, because it haunts you here, it haunts you in future zonings, and it haunts you to other sites. So we never like to develop a bad reputation, so. Are you in the first row of homes to the?
Yeah, right about in the center.
Okay.
Right there, right.
And I would just take Jeff, who's, like I said, been there 30 years, he's the ops manager. I'm there twice a week, and he's there, so I would have him about as well, so.
Yeah, the only contact we've ever had is people mowing along the
Okay.
fence in the back.
Okay, okay,
I will tell you that under the new ownership, you guys do a great job.
thank you.
Because Rogers did it maybe 2 or 3 times a year.
Okay.
And you guys are doing it a few times a month.
Okay, good.
And that is appreciated.
Glad to hear it.
Maybe invite us out to see the final berm and the trees and what it looks like.
I'm sorry?
Invite us out to see the final berm and the trees when it's done, so what it looks like, so.
And you said you won't be going right up to the berm?
Well, what we're asking for is 200 feet. Of course, to the north, that's already been mine, as Taylor being mentioned, but it would be 200 feet from the property line is what we're asking for.
About when would that take place that you might be up against that?
It just depends, of course, on market conditions and that. I mean, you're talking many years down the road as far as the timeframe.
Next question.
Yeah, I would hate to throw a number out just because of the
Yeah.
market conditions and everything, but this pit doesn't do a major volume, so you're talking many years down the road.
And you're gonna build a pavilion in 2095?
Yeah, yep, I got a hammer.
Because
Yeah,
we could get that date up, and if we're looking at a different location.
Yeah, I'll be there.
I wanted to
yeah,
help us out.
it's hot.
That's why it's dedicated.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Good.
yeah.
And I hope the VFW comes and brings cheap drinks.
right.
Motion to move it to the board. Motion to move it to the board. Second.
Second? I'll second.
Simon,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Mead,
Yes,
Wright,
Yes.
But, yes, thank you.
Very good. Number 4, discussion and recommendation for approval for a special use permit amendment. The property commonly known as 14165 North Second Street, Prairie Hill Road. Applicant BCNA Prairie LLC Rogers Ready Mix. This was also approved by the ZBA. Motion to send this.
Second. Or did you make?
I'll make a motion.
A second.
Wright,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
Butts,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Mead,
yes,
thank you.
Great. Number 5, discussion and recommendation for approval for text amendments revising the Village Roscoe Code of Ordinances, Section 1511, architectural review of Chapter 150 and Sections 15 through 436, commercial permitted uses 15 through 460, industrial permitted uses 15 through 492, special district bulk standards 15 through 493, special district permitted uses 15 through 522, Fence regulations, 15 through 549. Food trucks, 15 through 553. Mobile home parks, 15 through 560. Data centers, 15 through 619. Off-street parking requirements, 15 through 690. Permitted sign types, 15 through 691. Standards for permanent signs, 15 through 692. Standards for temporary signs, 15 through 752. Definitions of Chapter 155 of the Village Code of Ordinances. It's all you. Let me catch my breath.
Yeah. So I have before you guys some text amendments to the zoning and building code related to existing inconsistencies, promoting clarity and readability. I can go over the little changes quickly if you guys want a summary, and then you can ask any questions, that you're looking for. So removing architectural review as it was a part of the previous code and not referenced in the new code. Changing some commercial permitted uses, either to permitted or making them a special use. Similarly with the industrial permitted uses. Amending the special district regulations. The term special district is incorrect. It says industrial, so just like a typo. Removing bed and breakfast from a public land conservancy district. And then adding food trucks to additional zoning districts. Fence regulations, doing a couple minor changes. Food trucks, not allowing as a permitted use, but authorizing it. Some more food truck friendly policies. Number 7, removing a phrase in regards to required front yard from the code. Number 8 would be, number 8, which is section 15560, adding data centers as a land use that it's currently not one presented. Adding a data center parking standards to the off-street parking standard requirements. And then the permitted sign types, we added those 2 new districts for Main Street, and our zoning code does sign permits based on zoning districts. So we needed to add those districts to allow people to apply for signage. And then the last change is in definitions, adding data centers, expanding the language for light industrial, and removing the word required from the definition of yard. Zoning Board of Appeals reviewed and approved. Suggested changes.
Can you go over the architectural review one, please?
Yeah, absolutely. So architectural review was a phrase used in the previous zoning code. I think it was like the 2008 zoning code. And when there was an update in 2021, all of the language changed to design review. And so this section was just left. It doesn't reference any other part of the code. So we have replaced architectural review with design review. So just removing this inconsistency.
So I've been here since 2000 and whatever, 9 or so. We've never had architectural review. We always had design review. I think at one point this village had a planning commission as well as a ZBA. When those were combined, I'm guessing that this was part of this. Probably not. It wasn't even the last code. Probably 2 codes ago. Was when we had architectural review in here. But essentially, this is the same as our design review is the ZBA. But it references architectural review, but it doesn't actually say what you're reviewing or when you use it. It's just in the code talking about architectural review.
So this coincides with having the one-step process?
This is design review instead. This is, we've never, as long as I've been here, we've never done architectural review as a separate thing. It's always been called design review. But it is referenced in different parts of the code as architectural review. I think at one point it probably was different when we had a planning commission and a ZBA, maybe, I don't know. But,
it just creates confusion when we try to tell people the process and just trying to make it simplified and clean it up.
Yeah.
Any others?
Set up questions about the data in the age of AI data centers. It's causing a lot of consternation in villages as far as energy use and what's going to do to our utilities and those types of things. Do we have anything in the codes right now that has a fee, impact fee or something as far as data centers being brought forth?
We do not. So the intent would be to add there's currently not a land use description for that. And then if there isn't one, then you have to go with what's the closest thing to it. And that doesn't put you in the safest situation if you want to compare it to, I don't know, light industrial or something like that. So defining what it is and laying out a path for them would be the ultimate power for you guys. They would need to most likely rezone because this is only allowed as a special use in the heavy industrial zoning district. And we would be requiring as the special use process review of information. We're kind of asking a lot for when they submit a special use, like what is your water use? What is your impact on drainage and lighting and fiber and things of that nature? So really laying out a step to make the village safer. We've been working with multiple communities throughout Wisconsin to kind of help them get safe and ready for if somebody were to come. It's not that you don't want them, you just want to have the opportunity to conditionally approve, you know.
Is there other examples of villages that are further along or actually had data centers put into their communities and how they handle that as far as, it'd just be good to know, like, because it's going to be coming. I mean, we're in the age of AI, but it'd be nice to sort of have some type of knowledge as to what the communities are doing as far as their codes.
Yeah, so data centers aren't new. So if you think about it, there are quite a few, like think about your medical records and things of that nature. They have those, and those are pretty passive uses and they don't cause problems. There's Fitchburg, there's tons, BioHair, you name it. There are probably some down in Rockford. I'm just not familiar with them. So there are those kinds, and then there's these hyperscale ones, and that's what everybody's very concerned about. It's the AI, it's the Bitcoin or the, you know, cryptocurrency kind that are very intensive on the community and can cause, you know, issues with neighbors and services for the village.
Cost.
Yes, so that's what I'm proposing is a line item to help you guys if one were to come about. I know that you guys are working on updating all the industrial corridor along 90 and making sure that you're prepared for that if one comes about.
Hillary, under our heavy industrial, we don't have there's nothing about impact like for water, electric.
We don't require, if somebody were to apply for a land use or one that's permitted, that they have to submit information about what their use is or like what their water usage is or if it would affect their neighbors. Like we don't normally require something like that, but we would want to know that, knowing that there's a lot of unknowns with these right now, and we would want to use that information to make a decision about allowing that use or expanding.
Because that's just what I've been hearing is a lot of the communities are being sold that there's a lot of revenue, you know, from having these data centers, but then afterwards they realize that they're picking up the tab for the electric and the water. And so it's just, that's where.
Right.
I'm sure everybody's looked at this, but this is more that skeleton, just like as Hillary mentioned, we don't have anything about data centers in our ordinance currently. So as she mentioned, you look for the closest type of thing, right? And so if there's a permitted use of, I don't know, warehouse or whatever, you make that argument that it's the same shape, same, you know, bulk standards as maybe a warehouse or manufacturing. If that's permitted in that industrial zoning, they're allowed to do that use without necessarily any sort of restrictions on it, or as long as they're meeting those, you know, general bulk standards, we don't really have any of those additional conditions on there. So by creating that data center specifically, and it's, as you can see, it's very, very short. It's not a huge thing, but it does allow us to say, okay, this is a special use in these. If you want a data center, come in for this special use. And then at that point, ZBA, village board, gets to make those conditions on there. Okay, tell us about it. Does it actually fit in that location? Does it actually fit with the capacity of that area, of where you want to put it? Does it work that way? So that's why this is as a special use. And then why those additional requirements for reporting and showing us, okay, what are you actually going to be doing there? What's the actual impact on the village?
Well, and it's early, the technology, it's early. I mean, you're right, they've been around forever, but you have Epic and different things like that there. You know, and so it's always good to have the skeleton there, and then actually you can always make it more restrictive. You can look at different things as things evolve. There's things that we don't even know, we don't know right now. So, but I think to have that in place is a good start, so.
Yeah, and your zoning ordinance is a living, breathing document, as you see. We could not have predicted that 10 years ago, or, you know what I mean, or longer, that this was gonna be such a controversial topic or something that we were really concerned about as a community. We'll keep, you know, if it's not working, we can always edit it, you know, or we can change the text if something comes on, but this is kind of what we're working with the framework right now and recommending to our communities.
Thank you.
Recommend moving to board. Unless there's other questions.
I'll second it.
Butts,
Yes.
Simon,
Yes.
Babcock,
Yes.
me,
Yeah.
Wright.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Number 6, discussion and recommendation of Allegiance flag supply, recorded amount of $6,455 for 55 sets of American pole flags for Main Street. Your flags, what?
Yeah, this is a continuation of the 34 sets that we got last fall. This will bring us up to 89 total sets, so we'll be able to do all of Main Street all the way down to Elevator, and then I know when we had the parade up Harrison up to and around by the cemetery. This replaces our old fiberglass poles that they're cracking, they're falling apart, and the flags are starting to get faded and everything. These are nice wooden ones. They even have the spinner, so when it gets windy, they can actually blow around without getting tangled up, and it has a nice little top on it.
Memorial Day.
Yeah, exactly.
That's good. Second.
Simon,
Yes.
me,
Yes.
Wright,
Yes.
Butts,
Yes.
Babcock.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any other public comment this evening? Barry?
Terry Brock, Gilmore Drive. I'm wondering, Hillary, is there anything in your ordinances about garbage? I got a neighbor that starting Wednesdays, garbage can is full. She only has one. And code enforcement doesn't work Thursday night. So starting Wednesday, everything is all piled outside the garbage can. Probably 5 or 6 bags, and then Thursday night it goes to the road. So from Thursday night till Friday morning when the garbage man comes, with me being a corner house, I look outside and I see waste management in my front yard, so to say. How do you address that? Who do you bring attention to? Because code enforcement doesn't work at that time.
You bring it to attention to this board right here. If you want to change our ordinances.
Well, it's 24 hours after, right?
And she get another garbage can? That's what, $75?
That's not for me to tell them. But somebody would have to go out there and suggest it.
Are you talking about garbage like flying into your yard?
No. In white bags, sitting on,
They're putting it out early, right?
well, like you're supposed to. You're supposed to put it out a day ahead of time. But between Wednesday and Thursday night, the garbage can is by the garage and the basketball hoop. So you got 6 garbage bags sitting there for the critters that take their pick, smorgasbord, and then Thursday night they go out to the road.
Can we have code enforcement go and talk to her and maybe come up with a suggestion of having an extra garbage?
But that costs the customer money.
$75.
We can
70.
We can work through that with them. Can you just, do you have?
An address?
Send me an address afterwards, or don't say it right now, but tell me afterwards and we'll get them out there to talk to them. Or we can call them and just let them know it's been an issue.
I mean, because it could, if there's critters getting into it and stuff, it could technically be an ordinance, or it could be a nuisance. That's just purely theoretical, but I mean, so there's a couple of things that could be discussed.
It does look sloppy, when you see 6 garbage bags sitting outside.
Right, I mean, it sounds like there should just be a dialogue. I wasn't trying to opine one way or another. I was saying in general,
Right.
it's a guest, and if there's stuff spread out everywhere and animals are getting into it.
It's
That's-
not messy, it's just 6 bags in a row.
You
Yeah, hopefully we can
have
work it out.
Address, we
Get
can,
an address.
we can probably contact them.
There's a lot of neighbors talking about it too, and they don't know how to address it.
I mean, it's not a violation, but I'm sure if we talk with them, generally people are pretty good about that, so.
Thanks, Terry.
Thanks.
Any other presentations this evening? Any need for executive session? No? Adjournment, all in favor of?
Aye.
Thank you.
30s.
7:36.
All right.